Today on the show, you sent me questions and I'm gonna answer them, so it's a Q&A. Okay, full disclaimer before we go any further. It's hot as shit right now in the UK. I'm sweating. I'm not a sweaty person, but I am sweating. So I've opened my windows. If you hear some noises, I'm sorry, but I'd rather not melt, So a whole lot of you actually asked what my favourite cosplay was to do, and I love all of my cosplays for different reasons, I really do. I actually really do love the Ladybug and Cat Noir cosplay I did with Kelsey, but if I'm talking solo cosplays, I really do like doing Bakugo. I worked really hard on that wig. That wig is insane. The spikes are held up with silicone. You know, like that silicone you put around the edge of your bath and the edge of windows to keep them sealed? That's what those spikes are held up with. And then I really do love cosplaying Noise because I get to put on all those fake piercings. And one day when I was at Japan Expo, I couldn't be bothered to take off all the piercings or any of my makeup, so I just went around Central Paris looking like that. Mackenzie Cooper asks, what is it exactly about Boku no Hero Academia that really speaks to you? I think it's because I come from a theatre school background, and in theatre school there is sort of traditions that are set up, and it's sort of very much like art is done this way, this is not art. And I was always very much into sort of newer things. But because of the art I like to explore, I was very much into anime and voguing and experimental theatre and just things that my teachers weren't necessarily experienced with and they didn't want to learn because they had that status as the teacher. There's an aspect of exploring different types of creativity in Boku no Hero Academia and how you should appreciate all types of creativity because everyone's got a different story. And everyone's got a different type of creativity. And maybe I'll do a whole video on that because like I could write a dissertation on My Hero Academia and how it ties in with creativity. So because of that, I really do love that show. Melly asks, I remember you talking about cosplaying as Judo and saw you making the pants in a video a while back. How is that cosplay coming along? It's coming along in the sense that I made the pants and I do plan to have that cosplay finished at some point, probably by September or October because I'm going away in September and October. And I'm going to Tenerife, which is sort of like a mountainous island. It's part of Spain, but it's closer to Africa than anything else. It's a whole thing. But I definitely plan on having that cosplay finished and all the tutorials for it finished by then. I'll definitely have the wig and makeup done as well. I was only going to do a 3-part series, but now I'm probably going to make it about 5 parts. Separate part for the top, the wig, and the makeup. Alistair Rise asks, is there anything worth watching that's not some moe bullshit or screaming fest like Attack on Titan? Your tone seems very pointed right now. I would say if you're not really into moe and you don't want to watch something that's very action-filled like Attack on Titan, give Nichijou a chance. Nichijou is pure comedy. It has no moe in it at all. And it's just great. It's animators doing what they love to do, which is animate. And yeah, there are like scenes of screaming, but those are so few and far between. It's not really necessarily anything to do with the show. Like, it's so hard to describe Nichijou. I would just say give the first few episodes a watch, you will be hooked. And if you're not hooked, you hate life. Yusuf asks, do you feel that anime is something that can be made outside of Japan? As someone developing a series, I'm struggling to really understand what constitutes as anime in contrast to a cartoon. Your video on adaptation was quite insightful in this respect. I would say if you haven't already heard about half my answer to this question, go and watch my video on why I feel like Hollywood is consistently failing at adapting anime. I do feel that anime can actually be made outside of Japan, considering that anime itself, for the most part, is not animated inside of Japan. It's only really the key animation and the background art that's done inside of Japan. Every other part of the animation process is usually done in Vietnam, China, or Korea. So I don't really feel like anime really has to be made inside of Japan to be counted as an anime. And on the flip side, the American cartoon Thundercats from the 1980s was entirely animated in Japan and no one would call it an anime. So I do think the term anime in terms of animation is flimsy at best, and I don't really have a solid answer to this question, but it is a topic that does genuinely interest me, and maybe we can get some discussion on that idea going in the comments down below, because I'm interested to hear what other people think about, because there are some American shows that are entirely animated in Japan, but we don't call them anime. And there are some Japanese shows that are almost entirely animated outside of Japan, but they're still anime. So what's the answer? Fantasia Cosplay, who's actually a very good friend of mine, so hi. Who is your favorite Cardcaptor Sakura character? It's Sakura. Like, you can't watch Cardcaptor Sakura and not call her your favorite character. She definitely has the most development in the series, and as much as all the other characters are great, she just stands out so much and she's so iconic. And that's all the questions I'm going to be answering for now. So next time I answer some of your questions, I'm actually going to be answering them on Instagram. So please go to my Instagram, it's linked down below, and follow me on there because I will be asking on there. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. So do you have any opinions on the questions that I answered today? Please let me know in the comments down below. Also don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, do all of the social links, and check out my Patreon because my patrons are really sexy, and everyone else that's not one of my patrons is just like mildly sexy.